Hey traders, this is Ron Hayden at Markets Hammer. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing great. As always, nothing in this presentation shall constitute a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Trading stocks and options involves risk and specific financial issues should always be addressed by your financial advisor. The spider is up 0.65% today, $1.84, really close to that 50-day SMA in orange. I think that will be a litmus test and inflection point. If we fail and we roll over, bad sign. We break through, all of a sudden we're above a major institutional moving average, and we would be getting really close to setting a higher high, which then ends the downtrend from a technical perspective, because the definition of a downtrend is, hey, here's a high, there's a lower high, then here's a lower high. Here's a low, there's a lower low. So when we break out and close to a new higher high, then we could reverse and start drawing uptrends. So we'll keep an eye on this. Like I've been saying, just watch the 50 days. So far, this is just a bounce. DIA, the diamonds, up 0.78%. They're also getting very close to that 50-day moving average in orange. The Qs, not so much. They have the weight of the DOJ, FTC investigations into Apple, Google, Amazon, faceplant. Watch the 20-day EMA here on the Qs. We get above it, bulls, the bears start losing a little of their edge, bulls start getting a little more of their edge back, but the key marker here is still the 50-day. So far, it's just a dead bounce. And Indigo Whiskey Mike, the Russell 2000, really underperforming. So we had a nice big pop on the 4th, which would have been Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, we had dips, tried to close up, but we're not making any real progress. So this is, if you compare the IWM, the Qs, they're both equally weak right now. I had a question on Roku from a viewer watching the videos. From a technical perspective, this is what Roku looks like on a daily chart. Today it was down $1.46, but that's not much. If I bring in all the data of Roku, you can see going back to 2017, it was in the low to mid 20s. Let's change this to a weekly chart. We've been pushing higher, so it's been new all-time highs ever since May. On a weekly chart, I see no weakness. If I go to a 1-year daily, I see no weakness. What I might consider from a bull-bear line in the sand, I would typically default to the 20-day EMA. As long as my stock that I'm watching stays above there, I can have the view it's bullish, and if it gets below there, I can't be short-term bullish anymore. Maybe I'm fundamentally long-term bullish, that's a whole different conversation, but from a momentum standpoint, I really do like using the red line. All right, Boeing, a stock that's often talked about, requested. We had a hammer-like candle on the 3rd. Then we had sort of one on the 5th, just a real long shadow here. It moved all the way down to 330 essentially and then rose back up. These are signs of a bottom. However, the volume's not there. I think just from a technical perspective, this would be the next, quote, supply buy zone, where folks that bought around 300 were rewarded. They bought again below 300, they were rewarded. This is the pocket down towards 300. From my perspective, given the bad news that's out there about them, you could say, yes, it's priced in and so forth. But I mean, all that's happened is it's given back the gains from January. Almost. That's it. To me, this stock still hasn't been penalized as if there could be some major stuff happening. Now, that's just my opinion for what it's worth. But we can throw that out the window, right? We can just trade with the technicals. What would it take on this chart for Boeing to be more bullish? Well, I would want to see it get above moving averages. The 20-day, not so much. The real big ones, the 200-day in purple, institutional moving average, and the 50-day in orange, institutional moving average. We get above both of those, that's showing the tide is turning, but then we still have a high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Even now, still a lower high. We got to take out some of these highs, especially I'd probably say back into here and even all the way up towards 390. Well, that's huge. That's over, what, 15% before we would even get there. So right now there's just a really big trading range on Boeing. Overall, it's still trending bearish. Tesla, another common stock that we get asked about. 3 good days, but it's not making a whole lot of progress. 180, 205, it's not that big of a deal for Tesla. If it can get above the red line, which it did not today, the red line's at 206.43, so we're still over 50 cents away. Target would be right around 240, which is the 50-day. And Home got taken out behind the woodshed. Stock lost over half its value today, and the earnings report was today. It's funny, we got one of these near where I live, so I guess we just got one. I guess it won't be there long. If I go back to all the data on home, new all-time lows. Its IPO looks like it came out around 15. We're now half of that. It's not looking good. The stock's going to be going home to zero, maybe, but one more reason why holding stocks into earnings, especially stocks that have been downtrends for a while, it's a very dangerous game. That's why I always like to consider protected puts. And really quick here on retail, I am still watching these guys. You guys probably know I spend a lot of my time in retail, and there's still no change. Nordstrom's down at 31, still trending bearish. If I zoom in here, we had a little 2-day bounce, but there was no volume, and now we're selling off on equal or heavier volume. And Kohl's still looking butt ugly here. The earnings went from 62 to 55. Now we're at 47. If I go back, well, let's just look at all the data on Kohl's. All right, looks like we can do maybe 5 years weekly. Here we are on a weekly basis. Some support maybe towards 40. Gosh, that's still 20% lower. So retail overall still looks poor. That's it, gang. Nice little short video. Wish you guys a fantastic Friday and a great weekend ahead. I'll see you in the next video on Sunday. Take good care.